of French flair in the top 14. The return of Serie A, motorsport with Formula One, MotoGP and NASCAR, plus England versus the Netherlands live from Wembley. August on Setanta Sports.
First big night of his career. It's not the first big night of his year. He's already had a world title tilt with Jaime in defeat early against Lucien Boutet. 36 now, 39 fights, 34 wins, 4 losses and 1 draw. Relatively recent at the point as Den was against Tony Oki, the British light heavyweight title. Not sure he would wish to say he's in the autumn of his career, but late summer at least. Looking to provide some electricity to this contest. Have a few picture problems, but don't worry about them. Ryan Magee is hoping that he will make Jaime Barboza look decidedly off colour this evening. St. Patrick's weekend was his last tilt. Barboza's last fight was a couple of weeks after when he won here, second round knockout against Ulysses Duarte. It is El Indio Jaime Barboza on home soil, looking to make it a big hometown occasion. He's 33 now, he's 3 years younger than Brian Magee. His hometown crowd who is looking to delight tonight in a post-midnight encounter. Anna Gabriels is already a world champion. What about Jaime Barboza this evening? The time of his life tonight.
Repito, señores, damas y caballeros, este combate se adelanta para que
it's a departure for Barboza because Brian Magee is the first European fighter that the Costa Rican has ever faced.
Categoría super-medio, super-mediano, 168 libras. Título
21 fights, 17 wins, 8 by way of knockout, 4 losses, one of which was a knockout, and it came late last year for the WBC Youth World Light Middleweight title, which Barboza held. If he's a youth at 33, then I and the rest of us all have hope. It was his title, but he lost it in 8 rounds against Jose Pinto. This scheduled to be his 4th ever 12-rounder. And for Brian Magee, it's his 5th 12-rounder in a row.
Los dos rivales que combatirán en este momento por el título de los supermedios. Tenemos a los jueces Levi Martínez de los Estados Unidos, Ted Alza de los Estados Unidos y Francisco Martínez de Nueva Zelanda. Referee Gustavo Padilla. Supervisor de la Asociación Mundial de Boxeo, José Oliver Gómez. Con un récord de 17 combates ganados, 4 perdidos. De Guapiles, Desamparados, de Costa Rica.
A raucous atmosphere it may be in San Juan, but Brian Magee has faced that already this year. That incredibly impressive bell sensor. Jaime Barboza is very much full of beans, but he has the same loss record as Brian Magee in half the fights and half the time.
En la esquina azul, con un récord de 34 peleas ganadas, 4 perdidas, 1 empatada.
Keeping this stadium as quiet as possible will be his aim tonight in this world title contest in San Juan. Been in the area for over a week and a half. Our referee comes from Panama. It's Gustavo Padilla. Judges are Levi Martinez from the United States, his compatriot Ted Gimsa, and Francisco Martinez of New Zealand. Here we go, that Darren Clark and Rory McIlroy have flown the flag wonderfully for Northern Ireland the past few weeks. Can Brian Magee join them now as a major champion, looking for the world title at super middleweight, but with an asterisk, that of interim WBA world super middleweight champion Brian Magee in the black shorts, Jaime Barboza, the home fighter of Costa Rica, in the grey. Both these men fought last in March 4 months ago, and Magee looking to get a much sharper, much brighter, keener start to this. There's a Panamanian influence in this bout, not just the referee but the trainer of Brian Magee, Bernardo Checa, and he acclimatized in Panama for a few days before making his way here last Monday. Brian Magee's been sparring with the Panamanian former WBA super featherweight champion Vicente Mosquera, and prior to that back home in Belfast with the Commonwealth gold medalist Eamon O'Kane. Quality men all. Been a bit more confident and attack-minded with his start against Barboza, but both men have barely landed a blow yet. That usual phony war which you tend to get so early in contests, sadly. But now the men have begun to grapple, and Magee can finally, for the first time in this contest, show if he can extend himself. Barboza's mainly fought in Costa Rica. He's had one contest in the Dominican Republic, which he lost, 2 in Mexico, one of which he Was also on the losing side, that knockout at the end of last year when he lost his WBC Youth World Light Middleweight title. He's made a major step up. It's his first super middleweight contest in 6 years. Whereas Brian Magee has generally found himself quite comfortable. Light heavyweight previously, fought for the British title. Drew on points against Tony Oki at the point in 2007. Somewhat even to start off. Round 2 underway in San Juan for the interim WBA World Super Middleweight title. Brian Magee, who was beaten in 10 rounds by Lucien Boutet in Montreal back in March in his most recent world title tilt. He was IPO super middleweight champion for 3 years, from 2001 until Robin Reed got in the way in 2004. One of only 4 losses that Magee has suffered, and they have all come in big title fights. Our own point scorer is the boxing correspondent for the score.ie, Gavin Grace, and he has scored the first round level at 10 points each, which I think I would concur, to be truthful. Neither gave major appraisal of themselves in the opening round, and it's very much been a similar story in round 2. Magee's a hard worker, but never scared to let it go towards the distance. You may have thought some of the reviews were somewhat cruel against them for his most recent contest in Canada in March, where if you were just reading the printed accounts alone would suggest that he got utterly battered, but it was the 10th round in which he finally succumbed. Held on quite well. You may argue that he wasn't going to win on points, but he almost went all the way to a judge's decision. Been made to miss quite a bit in the opening round and a bit. But Magee had the confidence to go to Denmark, to Aarhus in the Energy I Arena and defeat Mads Larsen with that 7th round knockout at the start of last year. In many ways his career was drawing towards a dead end 2-3 years ago. He'd been beaten for his tilt against Carl Froch for the British super middleweight title, which was doubling up as the Commonwealth crown. Had drawn that British light heavyweight tussle at the point against
Live pre-season football this Tuesday on Setanta Sports. Having secured a record 19th title in May,
It's Manchester United's title yet again.
Man United continue their preparations for the new Premier League season as they face Marseille. Marseille versus Manchester United this Tuesday, live on Setanta Ireland.
Looking nifty-50.
Need a number nifty? Call 11850.
You could create our next TV commercial. Find out how on Facebook. Beck's Beer, turning beer into art since 1874.
Take advantage of some of the greatest trading opportunities in a decade and open yourself up to a new world of opportunities. Profit from rising and falling markets in currencies, oil, gold and stock indices with Ava FX. Multiple trading platforms to suit all levels of experience. Open a trading account at avafx.com today and get access to our educational program, 24-hour support and a generous welcome bonus. Practice accounts available for beginners.
The new Android-powered Xperia Play from Sony Ericsson. It's the ultimate mobile gaming smartphone. Now there are more than 60 optimized games, like Rainbow Six and Need for Speed Shift. And they're all ready to play.
At PC World, great offers on our new range of laptops like this 4GB Dell, only $469 with an Intel Pentium dual-core processor. This 3GB Dell with a visibly smarter Intel Core i3 processor is only $529. And with switchable lids available, you can pop, click, switch for the look you want at PC World this weekend.
A message from your heart. When the summer comes, it can seem easier to live a healthy lifestyle. But that doesn't mean we no longer need to watch our cholesterol. Without us realising it, an excess of cholesterol could build up in our arteries day after day. But Danacol contains plant sterols. Plant sterols help reduce bad cholesterol by up to 10% in up to 3 weeks. Start looking after number one every day with Europe's number one.
Coming up next weekend. Saturday morning, it's an NRL doubleheader as the Storm take on the Panthers. Then the Broncos clash with the Warriors. Later, Palmeiras versus Grêmio in the Brazilian Championship. On Sunday morning, there's more NRL with the Knights versus Raiders. Then NASCAR with the Pennsylvania 500 from Pocono Raceway. Plus more Brazilian Championship as Atletico Paranense hosts Corinthians. Next weekend on Setanta Sports.
Round 3 of 12 will be slightly delayed due to a little bit of trouble in the corner of Brian Magee. It looks as if some of the wrapping has come undone and the bottom rope has been particularly weakened on this near side, but they should be happy enough to resume very shortly. That, I have to say, came across as a very short round to me. Our expert scorer tonight, as said, is Gavin Grace from the score.ie, and he gave that second round to Magee and has him leading at 2019, but just with this world title contest with an asterisk that it being very much an away tie, and this is where an even bigger problem lies. If we thought it was a bit limp on the near side, it's a lot worse on the far, which will cause a bit of a delay to this third round. It is an away tie for Brian Magee. And though the judges two are American, the other is a Kiwi. For Jaime Barboza, it's a home tie. It's largely a home referee. The Panamanian Gustavo Padilla hasn't had a long way to travel. This is like the baseball ground where the penalty spot gave way under a lot of mud all those years ago. One of these things you never thought you'd see in a sporting contest, but now you have. The ropes have come undone in a world title fight. And we've got a big problem on that far side, because just when it looked as if the repair job was done, Gustavo Padilla grabbed that bottom rope in his hand and it all came asunder on him. Somebody's got a screw loose. There's several. Now you know the anatomy of a boxing rope intimately. It's a big night for Costa Rican fighting. They're looking for a male world champion to be crowned, alongside Hannah Gabriels. This is the WBA No to Drugs night in the Costa Rican capital. The president may be here. We didn't have anthems, which I was somewhat surprised at. But then that unofficial sporting anthem is ringing around the National Stadium in San Juan. The way it's going, it'll be breakfast time back home shortly. The way it's going, it'll be breakfast time here. We haven't had this problem all night. Contests have gone close to schedule. This midnight schedule start time for this contest, local time, is actually the third time that the kickoff time, if you like, for this world title fight has switched around. It was originally due to be around 10 p.m. local time, then that moved to 1 a.m, which would be 5 a.m. back home in the UK and Ireland. It's due to get underway at 4 a.m, then got underway about 20 past 4, and the way it's going, it won't finish until about 7. This is really strange. It's extraordinary, and I've never come across anything like this before. Richard Abril has just successfully defended his WBA Fedel Latin title. It was a unanimous points decision victory of the Panamanian Julio Camano, and if you join us early, you might just have enjoyed the last few rounds of that. It was in this ring with these ropes. It was, I can't see any hometown chicanery with this. There's been no discomfort really for Barboza so far in this fight. They've been two quite even rounds for me so far. Magee has looked impressive, and I think we have enough tension in the bottom rope now across all 4 sections of the ring. Gustavo Padilla will have his own forensic examination of that. Just have to reconnect the middle section on the near side, and we will be away again. Hopefully. Can't quite see how that happened. I think one of the corners just snagged his foot as he was leaving right ahead of the start of this third round, and then the entire bottom rope gave way. That's how it looked to me anyway. It's been one of the strangest stoppages in a sporting contest that I can remember. Corner flags missing ahead of a World Cup final. Rain stopping play during snooker. Almost has got nothing on this. Do you remember a major table tennis contest from around 20 years ago got delayed because the wonderful crystal trophy for the winner managed to get smashed halfway through. One of those moments that Dennis Norden always loved to replay, and it'll be all right in the night. It will be all right in this night, eventually. Here we go, round 3 of the 12 for this interim WBA World Super Middleweight title fight. And Brian Magee has given a decent showing so far, but neither man has dominated excessively. First 10 seconds of round 3, very similar to the previous 6 minutes of the first 2 rounds. Barboza finished it quite early last time round, 2-rounder. Out of a possible 6 when he made hay here against Ulysses Duarte. He's earned himself this world title shot. It's the belt which has been taken away from the injured Dimitri Sartazin. I'm sure we'll see him back. He will have a right to take on the winner of this contest, as potentially will the Super 6 champion. Ward against Froch is on the way Halloween weekend. It's a special fright night early on in late summer in San Juan. It's been sultry, low 30s Celsius. Still a bit balmy this evening, post midnight. Magee with a couple of good body shots, but chose not to follow up. Good hit by Barboza. He's got a very strong right. 8 knockouts in his career in his 21 fights. Almost 50% record in terms of his wins. Magee in terms of knockout, superb. 39 fights, 34 wins, 24 inside the distance. Rope looks a bit wobbly away to our right, I ought to warn you. But nothing that's caused too much difficulty since its fixing. Trying to up the ante in this third round. Connected a couple of times with Magee, but the status quo has largely been maintained. It's almost as if for every time Barboza has a go, it gives Magee a cue to try and respond. Magee's looked solid in this contest so far. Round 4 of the 12 in this interim WBA World Super Middleweight title fight, and Magee has come out strongly. Pat Magee, John Rooney, Bernardo Checa in his corner. Men who have steered his career carefully. There were a couple of postponed fights due to different reasons in the year and a bit ahead of the European title success when he defeated Mads Larsen. That wonderful 7th round knockout which we brought you live, you may remember, from Aarhus. Successful defend inside 8 rounds against Roman Aramian at the National Stadium in Dublin, September last year. His only fight since then, another world title assault in the IBF crown where Lucien Boutet stopped him in 10. It's only the second time in his long career, which started back in the last millennium in 1999. Only the second time he'd ever been stopped. Previous time was by Carl Froch at the York Hall 5 years ago on that British and Commonwealth super middleweight title fight. And this always seems to be appropriate for Irish fighters. He made his bow, Brian Magee, St. Patrick's Week 1999, a 2nd round stoppage of Dean Ashton, Bowlers Arena in Manchester. (10-9) Magee by our expert scorer in round 3. 30-28, but we are working in different circumstances, certainly for Magee, because it's an away night for him. He's Good solid belt to the body. Was fascinated that Barboza decided to slack back to the ropes there. A delayed response from El India. He was fighting hard to get himself going, fighting hard to get the crowd going too, in truth. If this were in Belfast, you can imagine the support that Magee would be getting. And Barboza with the real prospect of a world title for Costa Rica, in Costa Rica. Not quite been able to engender the same local hometown enthusiasm in San Juan. Magee looking comfortable, but has he managed? Round 5 underway in San Juan. A couple of the rounds have seemed quite short to me, but we'll keep a stopwatch on them from now on, just to confirm for you. Magee has put in a comfortable display in the opening 4 rounds. He's been Central American based for the last fortnight or so. He's acclimatized quite well and is looking really good so far in what has in many ways been an uneventful contest so far. We've had a couple of rounds in which very little has happened, but there's nothing, I think anyway, that's caused Magee much duress so far. The crowd are finally getting behind Barboza now, and he connected very well. A facial shot on Magee by Barboza. He got a bit of momentum there, but wasn't able to follow it up. And the funny thing is, I remember saying exactly the same thing about Mads Larsen when Brian Magee stopped him in Aarhus at the start of last year. Barboza got a good punch in, so why not try and follow it up? Make sure that round 5 would definitely be his. Our scorer Gavin Grace has called round 4 even. 2 level, 2 for Magee. He's been told to keep his chin up by the Panamanian referee Gustavo Padilla. Expert scoring 40-38 in Magee's favour, though it's an away tie for him. You could imagine that maybe a small bit skewed. Barboza's done much better in this round. He's come out along stronger. He's got a good connection on Magee. Not once, but twice now. But it's he who's guilty of having the head down this time. Much more holding on in this 5th round as well, which has been noticeable. Couple of good hits.
The Europa League live this Thursday on Setanta Sports. FA Cup runners-up Stoke continue their qualifying campaign as they travel to Croatia to face Hajduk Split. The Europa League 3rd qualifying round. Hajduk Split versus Stoke. This Thursday, live on Setanta Ireland.
Some of us will greet tonight with anticipation. Others with open arms. But we greet this night together, knowing that tonight, anything is possible in this city of lights. Because all too soon, we will greet the day. But not yet. Not while we still have tonight. Tonight, it's Miller time.
smoking barbecue chicken temptation with crispy bacon from Subway just tastes so...
Bachelors. The secret's in the sauce.
It's the Fusion Pro Glide Challenge. Woo! Hey, buddy. How's your shave?
Sometimes it snags. It's grabbing the hair too much.
See how shaving may cause uncomfortable tug and pull. That's why Gillette is introducing new Fusion Pro Glide.
Wow, it just doesn't pull.
That's gliding.
Now Fusion Pro Glide has been engineered with Gillette's thinnest blades ever, so it glides for less tug and pull. Turns shaving into gliding and skeptics into believers.
Well, good shave.
New Fusion Pro Glide. Take it, come on! You got bigger. All right, all right.
August on Setanta Sports. The Barclays Premier League featuring Liverpool, Everton and Chelsea. Qualifying in the UEFA Champions League and Europa League. A new season of French flair in the top 14. The return of Serie A. Motorsport with Formula 1, MotoGP and NASCAR. Plus England versus the Netherlands live from Wembley. August on Setanta Sports.
We're underway in round 6 of this interim WBA World Super Middleweight title clash, and Brian Magee, I think, realises now, if he hasn't already, that he does have a fight in his hands, as the Costa Rican, the home fighter, Jaime Barboza, finally got into the fight in that round 5. Finally managed to get the crowd going. So Magee has lifted himself an awful lot in this 6th round. It's for the interim title that they're fighting for, the right to be called the world champion for the time being. Though definitely only temporarily. Barboza tried to connect. There was a sign of a decent uppercut there with the right, which we've seen very little evidence of so far in this contest. Timed that 5th round to be bang on 3 minutes, by the way, but as stated, a couple of looked to be somewhat short to me. Expert scorer from thescore.ie, Gavin Grace, gave that last round to Brian Magee. Despite the good hit by Barboza, he felt that Magee had done the better of the two overall across the 3 minutes. 50-47 for Magee, he's scoring at the moment. Though in Costa Rican soil, I wonder how tempted our 2 American judges and 1 Kiwi were in seeing it Barboza's way in round 5. We'll learn that shortly enough. But it's been a contest, a world title fight so far, of very little incident at super middleweight level. Andre Ward is currently the WBA super champion. Big date coming up against the WBC champ Carl Froch in the next few months. Lucien Boutte, who inflicted defeat on Magee last time out as the IBF champ. And well, where do you reckon the world capital of boxing is right now? And for me, it's Germany, and Robert Stieglitz is the WBO champ. Seen a few of his fights over the past few months as well on this channel. Now they're really putting the foot down. There have been a couple of good body shots from both, but nobody's managed to get the fight by the teeth so far. Into the second half of this world title fight. Round 7 of the 12 from San Jose in Costa Rica. And the hometown boy, Jaime Barboza, in a struggle against Brian Magee, who's already been an IBO world champion. This is an attempt at being an interim WBA champion. But certainly the peak of his career is coming right towards the end of it. He's 36 now, Barboza 33, and he's clawed up the rankings in what's been a rather quiet career. He's fought an average of 2-3 times a year. Magee has kept himself as active as he can be. Do we get some extra action now in the 7th round? One solid punch to the face alone. Barboza's not really caused Brian Magee much difficulty yet. Magee has picked off a couple of good punches here and there per round. But can he keep the tempo going right into the second half of this fight? Looking to draw Barboza in. The defence of both, the blocking's been impressive. An awful lot's failed to penetrate so far. It's a fight which really has failed to ignite thus far. And Barboza somewhat close in whilst holding. Somewhat cleverly managed to get a box into the side of Magee, and it was on the side of referee Gustavo Padilla. Aimed for a few body shots that time to the home man. But the tempo of the fight has not been high. With being around the equator, it's been hot the last few weeks around Costa Rica. Are they looking to heat things up now? We've got 5. It's the 8th round in San Jose for the interim WBA World Super Middleweight title. There's been disappointment this year already for Brian Magee in being denied in the IBF Super Middleweight title fight against Lucien Boutte. He's given a decent account of himself here. Neither man has had the chance to dominate so far. But now the swings are beginning to come in and the tempo's raising. Magee's been happy largely to keep his distance, and Barboza arguably happier. Our expert scorer from thescore.ie, Gavin Grace, has given the last 2 rounds to Magee 10-9. In fact, the last 3 rounds has him 70-65 ahead of the moment. But what will that mean to the men who are watching from ringside in the natty suits? Don't automatically expect hometown decisions. We had a big surprise in the last boxing night I was involved in about a month ago in California. And the big Mexican name fell asunder on points in a contest which, to be honest, to me looked as if he'd very much dominated. Magee has looked largely unfettered so far, but can he keep his momentum going? And the eye of Gustavo Padilla on this occasion. Bits of holding have begun to drift into this contest a lot more. Only the 5th 12-rounder that Jaime Barboza has lined up for. One of those for the Costa Rican light middleweight title, ended in a first round knockout in his favour against Jordan Sanchez. He's gone the distance 3 times, Barboza. 1-2 of those. It looks so far so good for Magee.
Live pre-season football this Tuesday on Setanta Sports. Having secured a record 19th title in May,
It's Manchester United's title yet again.
Man United continue their preparations for the new Premier League season as they face Marseille. Marseille versus Manchester United this Tuesday, live on Setanta Ireland.
Looking nifty 50. Need a number nifty? Call 11850.
You could create our next TV commercial. Find out how on Facebook. Beck's Beer, turning beer into art since 1874.
Take advantage of some of the greatest trading opportunities in a decade and open yourself up to a new world of opportunities. Profit from rising and falling markets in currencies, oil, gold and stock indices with Ava FX. Multiple trading platforms to suit all levels of experience. Open a trading account at avafx.com today and get access to our educational program, 24-hour support and a generous welcome bonus. Practice accounts available for beginners.
At PC World, great offers on our new range of laptops like this 4GB Dell, only $469 with an Intel Pentium dual-core processor. This 3GB Dell with a visibly smarter Intel Core i3 processor is only $529. And with switchable lids available, you can pop, click, switch for the look you want at PC World this weekend.
A message from your heart. When the summer comes, it can seem easier to live a healthy lifestyle. But that doesn't mean we no longer need to watch our cholesterol. Without us realising it, an excess of cholesterol could build up in our arteries day after day. But Danacol contains plant sterols. Plant sterols help reduce bad cholesterol by up to 10% in up to 3 weeks. Start looking after number 1 every day with Europe's number 1. Denon.
It's the 9th round of this WBA interim world super middleweight title fight from San Jose. Brian Magee of Belfast in the black shorts against the Costa Rican Jaime Barboza in the grey. It is the interim world title that they're fighting for. Things are really heated up at super middleweight. The Super 6 has definitely reinvigorated the scene. And in the 4 major titles of this weight division, held by 4 different men. Andre Ward, Carl Froch, Lucian Boutte and Robert Stieglitz. And Brian Magee is aiming to put his name alongside those as the interim WBA champion for the time being. Andre Ward is the super champion. Surprised the crowd really have not got behind Jaime Barboza a lot more. It was a wild swing. It's always got to be made to miss that one. And now he's ended up on the canvas, but very sloppily so. For me, Barboza's looked rather sluggish. couple of good hits, but realistically no more than that. It's an interim contest like what we saw between Willie Big Bang Casey and Guillermo Rogando a few months ago. That was for an interim belt, and so is this. And the Magee success story looks as if another chapter is going to be written. And finally a recognised world title, albeit one with an asterisk alongside. Maybe heading in his direction. It's a humid night in San Jose. Looks as if there's a bit of damage coming down the right side around the eye of Magee, and he's having to backtrack a bit here. Barboza's beginning to come out, and both men are beginning to show a little bit of extra edge. And it's what the contest needed. But what neutrals want is no. Round 10, and if you're scoring this neutrally, it's been a good night so far for Belfast's Brian Magee, Lisburn-born, whose career has really been skyrocketing the last 2 years or so. There were disappointments along the way. Lost to Robin Reid after holding the IBO super middleweight title for 3 years. Beaten by Vitaly Skipko as he went for the European super middleweight title, which he would eventually win by beating Mads Larsen. Lost to Karl Froch, lost to Lucien Boutte. He's lost to some very, very good men. There's Brian Magee, there's no doubting about that. Your assessment of Jaime Barboza is a very good man. I will leave up to you, but Barboza logically has to come out, and he has to put the foot down, and for me he just hasn't done that at all so far. I just don't think that Barboza's given it all a good appraisal of himself so far whatsoever. And if you're looking at the scoring logically, you would surely have Magee well ahead by now, as our viewing expert has, by 7 rounds, 90-83. There's another hit to the side of Magee as they were holding. Barboza's got away with a little of that. He's had a few clean hits on Magee, though truthfully not that many. It was a thrilling victory, a thrilling contest against Mads Larsen at the start of last year in Aarhus, when he claimed the European title. Finally, successful defence since then, when he saw off Roman Aramayan at the National Stadium in Dublin. This could just be the greatest night of Brian Magee's career. He's talked a very good talk going into this fight. He's been very encouraged and encouraging. It's been difficult to fault him so far. The big disclaimer along the way is that he is the away fighter in this contest. Who knows how that will change things in the scores, but the penultimate round in San Jose, and Brian Magee has looked comfortably in control. He hasn't dominated the fight massively, he hasn't really needed to. For me, the Costa Rican Jaime Barboza has not given a good appraisal of himself at all, realistically. Not sure Magee needs to do a huge amount from here, but knowing him, he'll still continue to give it what he can. But Barboza's display has been somewhat lackluster. None of his last 5 fights have gone the distance. 4 knockouts in his favour, 1 against. That loss against Jose Pinzon when he lost in his first defence of the WBC Youth World title. He'd won that in a knockout May last year. He'd lost it by October. Holding is getting a lot more prevalent now. It became that way pretty much for the 3rd round, really. A lot of standing off in the first 2. Barboza's swinging a bit more now, but it's wild stuff. Our expert scorer gave Barboza that last round, finally. It still hasn't Magee by 6. See what the 3 wise men around the ring say in 5-6 minutes time. It'll be an interesting decision, but surely at this stage you'd give it to Magee. Barboza for me just has not had it. It's his first attempt at something as serious as this. Brian Magee's been here before. He had 10 contests in total for the IBO super middleweight belt. It was the IBF prior to that. This is his 12th world title fight. Home crowd chanting for Indio. Jaime Barboza as best they can, but the best that Barboza can produce is realistically not so great. There's 1 more round to go after this.
Some of us will greet tonight with anticipation, others with open arms. But we greet this night together, knowing that tonight anything is possible in this city of lights. Because all too soon we will greet the day, but not yet. Not while we still have tonight. Tonight, it's Miller time.
The smokin' barbecue chicken temptation with crispy bacon from Subway just tastes so...
Bachelors, the secret's in the sauce.
It's the Fusion Pro Glide Challenge. Woo! Hey, buddy, how's your shave?
Sometimes it snags. It's grabbing the hair too much.
See how shaving may cause uncomfortable tug and pull. That's why Gillette is introducing new Fusion Pro Glide.
Well, it just doesn't pull.
That's gliding.
Now Fusion Pro Glide has been engineered with Gillette's thinnest blades ever, so it glides for less tug and pull. Turns shaving into gliding and skeptics into believers.
Well, good shave.
New Fusion Pro Glide. Take it, come on! You got bigger. All right.
You know, it's great to be away from it all. But for a lot of people, that means little or no broadband coverage. Well, not anymore. A new low-cost, high-speed broadband is available if your location can pass this simple test. Can you see the sky? Say hello to QSat. It's my company, and it's a totally new and highly advanced satellite broadband service available all over Ireland. Call us at QSat now and get connected for the very low cost of €99.
Watch Fight Sports Knockouts every week on Setanta Sports. Fight Sports Knockouts, weeknights on Setanta Sports.
Here's where the story ends. 12th and final round of this interim WBA World Super Middleweight title. It's looked comfortable for Brian Magee against the Costa Rican Jaime Barboza in San Jose. Barboza, you assume, will have to come out all guns blazing in the final round, and if he does so, you'd also have to ask why he didn't look that way previously. The look on Don King's face is one of almost boredom. It's not been an impressive display from the hometown fighter at all. He hasn't got the crowd on his side for me at all. He hasn't got things raucous. He hasn't had the roof lifted. Looked somewhat ordinary. Magee's come in with a very professional ethos. It's his 40th pro fight. It's Barboza's 22nd. And there's been very little travelling. Only 3 times has he fought outside of the borders of Costa Rica. He's barely had to travel 1,000 miles for the other encounter, whereas Brian Magee has fought wherever he can. Canada and Denmark for 2 of his 3 most recent title fights. Now Costa Rica, a real step into the unknown for him. Not a bad hit, but there's been no count against Magee. It's given Barboza a bit of hope. He waited it well, a good hook. Magee doesn't really need to hold on. Surely he's far enough in front. Most neutrals must feel the only way Barboza could win it now is with a knockout. He's looked a lot better in this 12th round. He's given a 10th by our expert Magee, the 11th by the way. So why couldn't he have done that for the rest of the fight? He doesn't look to have paced himself well. Magee, on the other hand, definitely has. But all of what we've said could be very much academic until we see what the referees have, or the judges have said in their scorecards. The referee quite well by Gustavo Padilla. Seen very little from him, and realistically very little from Jaime Barboza. Brian Magee, for me, has put in a really good job tonight. A flurry of fists. There was no bell that we heard at the end of this fight, hence actually longer final round. But the arms are raised to Brian Magee, and will they be in 3 or 4 minutes or so? I thought he was excellent. Barboza's got quite badly cut up. Magee almost as if the glove hasn't been landed on him. Job well done by Brian Magee, surely. But the ultimate disclaimer still applies. A hometown result seems unlikely. Barboza was dominated by Magee and just didn't have the wherewithal to respond. Women's Costa Rican world champion. These number of the highlights of the contest, and largely all Magee's. We're seeing a few moments where Barboza did show a bit of life. Our expert scorer for the night has been Gavin Grace of the score.ie, and he gave that final round to Magee again. Has it by an 8-round margin, which we may say in hindsight, in comparison to what the judges would say, will be generous, but we're scoring it neutrally. As we've said throughout the night, it's an away tie for Magee. But if he doesn't have the belt after this, it's going to be shocking. He's been far too good for Barboza. Magee going into this rated very highly. The boys at Boxrec had him as the 13th best fighter in the world. And the Belfast Southpaw surely will be as untroubled with the decision as he was by Jaime Barboza during the contest. There can only be one winner of this fight, you would think. Patrick Hyland won the WBF featherweight crown a few weeks ago in beating Philippe Frenois. Henry Coyle is a WBF light middleweight bout against Elio Catania in Castlebar in a few weeks' time. WBF, which would be certainly down the rankings in terms of the world governing bodies. Nathan Cleverly, Carl Froch, Amir Khan and Ricky Burns of world titles with the Big Four world bodies. This is a Big Four title. Here's the decision.
El juez Levi Martínez de los Estados Unidos da 112 Barboza, 116 Magee. El juez de Quinza 110 Barboza, 118 Magee. El juez Francisco Martínez de Nueva Zelanda 111 Barboza, 117 Magee. Nuevo campeón mundial.
Brian Magee is the world champion. The interim WBA title has been claimed by Brian Magee. He's been European champion, IBO world champion, and now interim WBA world champion, and it was comprehensive. A marvellous display, very accomplished. Barboza barely troubled him. And it's a great night in the career of 36-year-old Brian Magee. He's at the top table, and how he deserves that. Andre Ward remains the super champion, but the interim WBA champ is Brian Magee.
Looking nifty 50. Need a number nifty? Call 11850.
You could create our next TV commercial. Find out how on Facebook. Beck's Beer, turning beer into art since 1874.
At PC World, great offers on our new range of laptops like this 4GB Dell, only $469 with an Intel Pentium dual-core processor. This 3GB Dell with a visibly smarter Intel Core i3 processor is only $529. And with switchable lids available, you can pop, click, switch for the look you want at PC World this weekend.
The new Android-powered Xperia Play from Sony Ericsson. It's the ultimate mobile gaming smartphone. Now there are more than 60 optimized games, like Rainbow Six and Need for Speed Shift. And they're all ready to play.
A message from your heart. When the summer comes, it can seem easier to live a healthy lifestyle. But that doesn't mean we no longer need to watch our cholesterol. Without us realising it, an excess of cholesterol could build up in our arteries day after day. But Danacol contains plant sterols. Plant sterols help reduce bad cholesterol by up to 10% in up to 3 weeks. Start looking after number one every day with Europe's number one.
Nach gasta líon tú mo chuid bróga.
Níos an fear.
Ní lice me a rinne be eile me leanamh thógáil.
So go.
Ach feice me I gimmert léthe.
Níor bud a bhí edrin. Níor am a córsa.
Liz, ná tharing dalam a lógaram.
What's all right? Walk the not. Bother me.
Liz! Tá gach ceart ar sús.
I'll talk to Harley, Jimmy.
Tá mi chun copán deas se pláid in dhéanamh.
Cyrera.
Yep.
The marshmallows.
Cínte, na mélte.
Neil na meal to marshmallows ago.
Oh no.
Well, can't you see the core? I was fucking with a chin came made marshmallows goggin.
Bear the scarf going in the Gordy.
Yeah. Yeah. Jen? Hannig Tommy Rash.
Well, better not run a meal to on.
Ach, Neil was all the Quintus.
Well, better not will miss a cook lish the latsa. Well.